BMW sells around 2.5 million cars every year worldwide. Right now, that's a lot more than Tesla. About 1 million of those are in China. In 2022, around 30% of all cars sold in China were fully electric. By the end of the year, that figure was even higher. In 2022, around 5% of the cars that BMW sold in China were fully electric. Of those, the majority were gasoline-powered cars converted into electric cars. BMW say that they increased electric car sales in China last year by 98%. However, they just announced a recall of every electric car they've ever made in China over the last 3 years. Every one of them has to be returned because they have some pretty serious faults. And this got me to thinking, why exactly is it that people are buying the heaviest sedan BMW has ever made? I mean, this thing literally weighs nearly 5,000 pounds, and it's a 3 Series. The i3 made in China, basically China's answer to the Tesla Model 3, is the heaviest sedan in China that you can buy. And frankly, it's expensive. Why are people buying it? Surprisingly, it's actually the 14th best-selling electric car in China in January of this year. But there's a big but. There is a very good reason for why people have been buying them. And it might shock you. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. My name's Sam Evans, coming to you from, I had to think twice there, Thailand. Bangkok in Thailand. Merchandise store is open. Check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. You can get electric merchandise, you can get bags, you can get all kinds of caps, all kinds of stuff there. And any profit we make, in fact, we make 10%, exactly 10% profit on all the merch. That all goes to the GoFundMe campaign for Shanna for her cancer treatment. So thank you so much for jumping on, buying merch. That helps support us. It's amazing. So the i3 is the best-selling electric car that BMW make. They've all been recalled. Every single electric car BMW make in China over the last 3 years has been recalled. And when I saw that notification, I started the recalls. Why has this car been recalled? What are the reasons for it? Well, first of all, they're recalling 93,632 vehicles, iX series, the i3 and the i4. They're fixing them with software updates, according to an announcement posted on China's government website. The vehicles are involved in 2 types of software problems. The first of them is a significant risk of power interruption. In other words, the cars can just completely lose power and stop. So that's the main issue. So then I had a look at the actual models that have been recalled. iX3, BMW have sold those. That's actually their best-selling BMW electric car in China. 37,000 of those are being recalled. Then I saw the second best-selling electric car in China. It's the i3. Like I said, it's ridiculously heavy. Basically, they took a 3 Series, the extended wheelbase model, because in China they love to have a bigger, a lot of space in the rear seat. Maybe for chauffeurs to have people in the rear seat, have the driver take around the boss or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, they love having a big rear seat. So they've got an extended wheelbase version. That's basically what they've done. Taken the gasoline version, took the gas car, took the engine out of it, stuck some electric motors in, put a battery pack on the bottom of it, and said, there you go. Here's your electric car, Chinese people. And unsurprisingly, it failed to sell. So what do? How did they start to actually sell this car? Well, the price of the i3 in China was around $55,000 when it was first launched. However, I started looking around and I realized that dealers have discounted them by up to $20,000. That's a 40% discount. And they actually started doing this in October of last year. This is before the whole, race to the bottom, discounts in EV prices. Basically, dealers in China were selling them way below manufacturing cost. I mean, that's just way, way, way below the cost to manufacture one of these, obviously. It's got a 70 kilowatt hour NMC, so nickel, manganese, cobalt battery. I mean, just the battery pack would cost a pretty large percentage of that fee. And it's a big battery. It's not a cheap battery to make. It's not a lithium iron phosphate battery. It's a pretty big car. It's 4.8 meters long. They're almost giving them away. $20,000 discounts. Now, not all of them are doing them for that price, but at a minimum, they've reduced the price by $10,000. That's a massive discount. So there you go. That's how BMW are selling their i3s in China, putting massive discounts on them. Now, I thought Toyota and Nissan were discounting their cars by a lot. I mean, Nissan's just reduced the Ariya by $8,000 in China. Toyota's done something similar with the BZ4X. They've discounted the price now. Apparently, they're $24,000 for the FAW version. The other version made by Toyota's other joint partner in China. Some people are saying that dealers are selling those for $20,000. $20,000 for a car that's a pretty decent sized car. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's pretty awesome if you're a Chinese consumer. There's so much choice now. And to say anyone who actually believes that EVs are more expensive than a gasoline-powered vehicle, well, come on, just look in China, right? It's not going to be long before we hit that point in other countries. It's happening in China. The same thing will happen elsewhere. It's just going to be a matter of time. It might take a few years to get there. I mean, even the CEO of Volvo agrees. The CEO of Volvo said the same thing. EVs will not be cheaper. EVs will not be more expensive than gasoline-powered cars in 2025. That's what he said only a few weeks ago. Now, personally, I don't think this strategy from BMW is really going to work long term. I think really to actually compete in this segment, you need to make a compelling car. You need to make a car that's an electric vehicle built from the ground up. I mean, making a car that's this heavy, I think consumers are probably going to say, well, the efficiency is really, really low. I mean, it's got a big battery pack. It's not a lithium iron phosphate battery. It's an NMC chemistry battery, and it's getting around 450 kilometers WLTP range. CLTC, I think it's 525, but WLTP might be 440, 450. That's a pretty low amount of range based on the battery chemistry, the size of the battery pack. And realistically, the reason for that is because it's not a proper EV. It's just not. And how safe are these cars? I mean, BMW already has only scored 4 stars for a number of EVs that it makes in the last 12 months. I mean, it's one of the only manufacturers that's not getting 5-star ratings for its EVs. I think BMW are taking shortcuts. I don't think this is going to work long term. Yes, for you BMW lovers, the interior looks great. Yes, of course, it looks better than the interior of the Model 3. Absolutely, you're right. The interior is beautiful, it's gorgeous. But honestly, I don't personally buy a car for the interior. I think BMW has to up their game. It would cost them a lot of money to manufacture these cars, to make this gas car, turn it into an EV, take all the compromises on board, and realistically, there's no way known BMW will gain market share by doing this. Now, 5% of all the cars BMW sold in China last year were fully electric, only 5%. And as you can see, of those 5%, a very large number were gasoline-powered cars converted into EVs, which are very heavy and which BMW lose a lot of money on. If it's their strategy in the future to continue making these kinds of, well, to be fair, subpar vehicles, I think they're in trouble. That's just my thoughts though. Let me know yours in the comments, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.